I could fix her. Yeah? Well, I could accept her as she is. You don't like the murder? Grow up. The atrocities are part of her, and I've decided they're funny.
This little cobweb potion, you'll fall into dark devotion.
Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone on the non-binary spectrum, my name is Miss Hexley, and I have finally finished Season 1 of Netflix's Resident Evil. All in all, it's alright. It's not award-winning good, but it definitely wasn't terrible. It's very much in the middle, with it being something that you should watch on your own to figure out if you like it or not. The first season definitely gives vibes that it could be better as time went on, but only time will tell. So the ending is basically Evelyn goes off the deep end, especially once she sees her son is bitten, and so she shoots him in the head, which I was not expecting. I feel like with zombie stuff, we always joke about the moment a character is bitten, their loved ones just gotta get rid of them, but we know that's not gonna happen because it's a lot, right? Not Evelyn. She nipped that in the bud real quick. I was stunned. I was not expecting that. But then Albert, that sounds so weird to say. Albert's such a ridiculous name. I'm sorry to people named Albert, but you don't have a villain name. No one would take you seriously. No one would take Wesker seriously if he just went by Albert outside of Excella. Yes, I, Albert, will take over the world. Yeah, okay, you fucking nerd. So Albert ends up sacrificing himself as the twins escape with Bert, which means that we lost Dad Wesker, but we still do have Uncle Wesker. The flashback ending also hints that Ada Wong will make an appearance in a potential season 2, which would mark getting to see a second game character featured in the show. In the present, we get the cliffhanger of Billy shooting Jade and kidnapping Bea. We also lost our crocodile buddy. I got so hyped about it too. However, we did learn that Bea might have some control or kinship with BOW animals, because Killer Croc Jr. does not make an attempt to kill her. So that's going to come into play next season. It does call back to the Darkside Chronicles, where Leon and Jack had to protect Manuela, who had a kinship with her mom, who was turned into a BOW, but also to the scrapped idea for Resident Evil 3.5. For anyone who doesn't know, during the development of Resident Evil 4, there were plans to feature a character who was protected by a BOW dog, but they scrapped it and repurposed the idea for Haunting Grounds, or Demento, depending on where you are. So it would be cool if we got to see that in the next season.
Oh no! Our table! It's broken!
I'm not gonna lie, the beginning of the season had me feeling mixed on Jade as a character, mainly because I was concerned about what the plan was for her from the writers. I've been exposed to characters that fail upwards with no actual repercussions for a while, and nothing is more annoying than when writers make their characters some variant of obnoxious unintentionally. But I gave it time and realized that Jade is the personification of the phrase, "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." I do honestly love Jade's ideology of how humanity has to cope with the virus, especially when you consider the games. The games never really go into the aftermath of life after these outbreaks happen. We just always just get this everything is back to normal vibe. This goes back to the first episode where she suggests that humans will have to live with the virus rather than trying to eradicate it, which is probably a better plan since in our universe, everyone and their mama wants to spread disease. So you might as well try to live with it, you know? Jade's basically kind of a Pandora figure. There's so much destruction around her, also she can save these small glimmers of hope. But she's the type of person that regardless of everything will tell you that this is all going to work out. It's not until nearing the end of the season she finally comes face to face with how much her recklessness is causing harm to others. It's even worse because she only really notices it when Bea is in danger and when Amrita is killed. I was so pissed she got Amrita killed because that was the main person that understood why this work was so important to her, and she did not really think about her well-being and her warnings. Her arc is basically her fall to rock bottom, and season 2 would only be her climbing back up. Also, they could have done better with the love interest guy, I guess. If he had to be there. Like, I don't even remember the dude's name.
I'm big with teens, girls, lesbians, the mentally ill, the very sad.
Someone said something really funny about how Billy still had her same teenage hairstyle because she never actually grew from the trauma of her teenage years. I feel like there was a missed opportunity when it came to Billy's story. I know this phrase gets thrown around a lot, but when learning about Billy's background and who she is and who she's trying not to be, I feel like it was more telling than showing. Not necessarily in flashbacks, but more in just these hints of what happened. We get the idea that maybe one of the factors for the Weskers having to move lies with Billy's outbursts. And it's probably just me, but outside of those lingering camera shots where she's giving vibes and flipping Tammy off, I never really got the impression that Billy has issues as much as she was just awkward. I feel like this, especially because in the last episode, Billy talks about how getting infected freed her and loosened her inhibitions, and I don't know, it felt like okay. Like, I do love the Jade attacking Tammy plot because it does set up how Jade's good intentions often come off as self-gratifying. Additionally, I would have loved maybe seeing something, maybe just a little snap. It's also because it generally gives off the impression that Wesker fucked up when he created the twins, especially when you think about the scene where he's using Jade's blood to sustain himself. Like, you get the impression that Billy might be unstable, and then when she's infected, there's a part of you probably going, oh, this is gonna mess her up, isn't it? But I do love adult Billy. I'm a sucker for fictional women with questionable morals that add just a teeny bit of spice to their crimes. I just feel like the flashback scenes maybe should have been more Billy's point of view, since the present scenes are more Jade's point of view.
I feel like I'm dead. I'm alive, but I'm dead.
So I'm going to cover the two Weskers we spend the most time with, aka Albert and Bert, and I'm going to start with Albert. As a member of the Dad Wesker Council, I say we didn't get enough Dad Wesker. I demand a webtoon supplements of misadventures of Albert being a dad with the twins. And you know what? All the other Weskers can make cameos. This is non-canon. Wesker family reunion. I demand it.
Where'd you get that?
But seriously, I think we really should have gotten more scenes with Albert being a dad to the twins. I don't really like writing that relies on you to be like, well, they're related, of course they love each other, and then they just never give us small scenes of them getting along. Like, give us the materials for the fan cams, bro. Okay, but even more seriously, I think what was done was adequate. Recreating Albert Wesker from the games is always going to be a tall order, because it's never going to be right. There's always going to be something wrong, which is why I feel you should throw caution to the wind. It can't be guaranteed to go from this to this, but the story does show that there's a reason. We find out that the original Wesker ended up cloning himself for a free R&D team that was actually making the drug he needed in Resident Evil 5. Albert is the oldest, Albie is the middle dead one, and Bert is the youngest. I feel like Albert was kind of stagnated because for a lot of the flashback, he was kind of separated from the girls, and his arc was mostly just being an umbrella man, and it wasn't as interesting as I felt like it could have been, at least to me. Outside of him defending Billy, we don't really get a lot of genuine Dad Wesker, and that's a shame because they killed him, and I felt nothing. I tried, but I couldn't. I don't know. I feel sometimes they didn't want to stray too far from the game's main characterization, so they didn't do more with him on an emotional level, which sucks because Wesker's not completely unfeeling. I vibe with the theory that Wesker and Alex really cared for each other, and would have been cool if they had more scenes where Albert showed more care and consideration in his own Albert Wesker way. I know Albert is a clone, but he's the oldest clone, so he's definitely got some expectations put on him. Now on to Bert, which we didn't get too much of, but what we got was
What the fuck is we doing?
very youngest sibling. Bert is literally en route to becoming a Karen, no lie. You remember when you were younger and your mom and dad started making a scene and having their Karen moment, yelling at some poor cashier or customer service rep, and you had to just sit there and hope that you developed the power of invisibility because, god damn, I do not want to be seen with you right now. That's the breadstick scene. Listen, Bert, I get it. The sign said endless breadsticks, but they never mean actually endless. I'm sorry you had to find out this way, buddy. If Albert is the scary, calm aspect of Wesker, then Bert is the fucking brutality of him because, damn. It does mean we get more Lance Reddick as Uncle Karen Wesker, if there is a season 2. The implication is funny though, because Albert's like, I have to sacrifice myself, but I cannot leave the twins with Bert. Here's Ada's number.
He's not worth it! Kiss his mom instead!
Now we get to talk about my wife. Shout out to fictional women with questionable morals. My favorite gender. It's so weird because I could have sworn I've seen Paola somewhere else while I was watching this, and then I remembered she was in Bad Boys for Life. She wasn't my main focus for that movie though, because my main focus was on this face. It's the essence of evil and moral ambiguity that really brings characters together for me. But even my lovely Evelyn isn't immune to the mehness. She's pretty much your generic evil corporate leader, which is not a bad thing considering it's Resident Evil and it's always been an anti-corporate greed series. Literally every issue in this series happens because corporations are like, let's do stupid shit because it could make us money. Oh no, turns out ignoring precautions for the sake of money is bad. That's not me acting like this plot type is overdone. That's me dealing with the fact that we have to see this shit happen in real life. So Evelyn kind of suffers the same thing where it feels like she's just there to fill in something, but also teasing something else she's involved with. She's pushing for joy despite being told that there is a big side effect, aka your antidepressants might turn you into a ravenous zombie. Sorry. I do like her descent near the end where she straight up kills her son, but also she basically Stepford wifed her wife. Her son starts realizing something's up when he finally sees his second mom get cut and she doesn't react. And she doesn't react like in the original Stepford Wives where Joanne stabs Bobby. Then she reveals that she did it because Mrs. Marcus wasn't okay with constantly moving. So Evelyn was like,
I can fix that.
And I was like, what? Get you a woman that would take away your bodily autonomy because you hate moving. High key, we would never work because I hate moving. I hate the mere thought of it. I'm not gonna lie. I thought there would be more with Evelyn and her interactions with the twins since we learned that Evelyn is Billy's puppet now. There's a lot of stuff in between that has happened that is clearly being left for season 2 maybe, so we'll see. Honestly, I'm stuck in the middle. It feels low-key like edging in certain areas for me. Like it dangles some interesting pieces of string in front of you, but doesn't really do anything with it. And it feels like an wait and see type of thing, which I don't like in stories because it relies too much on chance, especially when it comes to Netflix and their sapphic vampire show canceling ass. I would prefer if season 1 felt more contained instead of creating these threads that we as the viewers would be completely unfulfilled by if Netflix decided not to renew the show. It gets renewed, it gets better, it gets canceled, and we're left with all in all, it's harmless. It's not all of us are dead, but it's not the worst thing to ever happen. It's aight.